Hello and welcome back to the channel this week. Got another great episode for you. Today we're going to be talking about this X Pro 3 that I borrowed from Fuji. And it's when you see this, it'll be back in their hands again. But my favorite way to shoot with this, and this is the titanium version, which is very nice, by the way. People complain about it, leaving, your thumbprints on it and things. Yeah, it does do that. But, if you just break out one of these cloths, it comes right off. And it looks beautiful yet again. Anyway, love this camera. Like I've said before, I'm not real thrilled about this, but, and I've also said before that this particular auxiliary screen here is okay. In the right light, you can read it, but my eyes are terrible. And you can set it for two different things. I must say that the thing that bothers me the most about this camera is not the camera. It's the fact that it's discontinued. Really what it comes down to is that I didn't have a lot of time with this camera, but with this particular, with the Fujicrons used on it, it is outstanding. It is just fits so well in the hand. I love the little rubber along here and a little rubber along here. It's a great camera. And I gotta say that I can adjust it just about any way that I like, how I use my other cameras, but I especially like it because it's like a rangefinder. It's very similar to my Leica, but it's there's so much more that you can do with it. And I love this. I love these little Fujicron lenses. And this particular camera is nice and light with this rig on it, with this lens on it. It's very, very light. And let's look at some photographs that I've taken with it over the past couple of weeks. And I gotta say, I love it, but I can't afford it. It's just too much money used. So it's thank you to Fujifilm USA for letting me borrow it, but I can't buy one because it's too much money. I would have to come up with another $500 to be able to buy a version similar to this that's closer to new. So let's set up these photographs I took a couple of weeks ago with the Fuji X Pro 3 loaned to me by Fujifilm USA. I used the 35 f2 Fujicron with it. I wanted to make it feel like film, so I tried some film simulation recipes, and I kind of really liked what I got. And then there were some ones that I didn't really like. But I'll tell you, what I used a lot of? I used the frame lines a lot. And it was really interesting because it did feel kind of like using my Leica rangefinder. And I have to say that I didn't do a lot of manual focusing, and I've kind of looking over what I do and how I photograph. And I've gotten so used to using these mirrorless cameras and the electronic viewfinder that I found myself not really, and the autofocus, it's great. The X Pro 3's got a really nice hybrid system in it, and I need to try and use it more, but I don't have the camera anymore. Let's get back to this. I'm going to go over these images with you, and I'll show you what I like and what I don't like, and I'll explain a little bit about the film simulation recipes, and I'll see if I can make them available to you as well. So let's get on to those photographs right now. This Tri-X recipe is from Fuji X Weekly, and I really enjoyed it. It seems to work well for me. So for the most part, I really like how these Tri-X recipe shots came out. The shot of my dog, really like the tonal values in it. It really came out well. This next shot here, it didn't really work. I shot through the windshield of the harbor in the background, but the tones are great and the detail is great, but it just didn't work out. Now this shot here is actually not a Tri-X recipe. This is actually a conversion in Silver Effects Pro 2, and it looks awesome. Now, what I was trying for here didn't really work out. I was using the same Tri-X recipe, and it just didn't work the way I wanted it to, but I liked the wetness of it and kind of interesting. This next shot here of the traps and the buoys, it kind of works, but it was just too wet and dark out. Don't really like it. This next shot here, I kind of like this one. It's got a lot of detail in it, and I love the tonal values, and it really worked out well for a JPEG. I think it looks great. This shot here, I did some dodging and burning. I burned in the top and the background here, and with the 35mm lens, I love the out of focus background. It really works great. Now these next shots here, I was using my own Ostia recipe that I developed, and you know, this shot of my dog, I love the shot of my dog. I love the tone in it. I love the color. It's just beautiful. The shot of this hanging plant here, same thing. It was wet out when I shot these with the X Pro 3, and the contrast is great and the color is awesome. Here's another one, a close-up of that same thing with the 35 f2, and I really love the color in it. This next shot here, the color's a little bit too vibrant for me. I need to calm it down a little bit, but I really like the way it worked out. This shot of these buoys and the greenery worked out well. It's kind of wet, as with the contrast, looks pretty good. Now the wetness of the day really helped enhance the colors of these kayaks sitting here, and I love the way they're all lined up. Great color with this recipe. I really, really like it. And this next shot of the side of a Coca-Cola truck, also, I needed to adjust the color a little bit. It just wasn't quite right. And by the way, since the beginning of this video, which I did earlier, like, a week ago, or maybe even a couple of weeks ago now, the price of the X Pro 3 at least one of these retailers has come down quite a bit, and they have a lot of them in stock. And it's still, at this point, it's still kind of high for me. It's still probably about, I don't know, maybe $300 high. I'd like to see them somewhere around $1,200, and the X Pro 2, which is, they have a lot of those too, but those are very high as well. Those should be about $600 or $700, and they're about $1,000 something. Hey, thanks for stopping by the channel and looking at this review on this particular camera right here, the X Pro 3. So it's a great camera, and I really appreciate Fujifilm USA for letting me borrow it. Please check out CapeAnnPhotoTours.com. We've in full swing with our tours around Cape Ann. And remember, it's not what you photograph, it's how you photograph it. And we'll catch you next time.